Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Chel Stars podcast. Unfortunately, today we are missing Aaron, everybody's favorite, but the boys are here to talk about the biggest event to happen since I can remember. Bo Horvat from the Vancouver Canucks is being traded to the New York Islanders. This whole podcast pretty much is going to revolve around that, as there wasn't anything else that crazy happening as well. And we're going to be doing trivia and then some fan questions as well, too, at the end. So I'll let Max kick it off with some news around the league.
Thank you, Mikey. Contrary to what he just said, I do want to actually quickly go over what happened the morning after we recorded our podcast and uploaded it last Wednesday. Andrei Kuzmenko completes a 2-year deal, signs a 2-year deal with the Vancouver Canucks, an average value of $5.5 million with a modified no trade clause. I believe it's a 10-team or 12-team no trade list. So of course that happened right after we recorded, which is always funny. So you had to wait a week for our, thoughts on the deal. Mikey, what are your thoughts?
I'm glad they're keeping him. Honestly, just the way he's played this season, coming from the KHL, which is a whole different, ball game over there compared to the NHL. It's just good it's good to see that a signing that the Canucks have made is paying off, and he works well with Pettersson, which is something they should have ran from the start. I know they did it previously, but they should have just stuck with it like the whole season, because they're both pretty electric together and actually really fun to watch.
Yeah, very fun. And I think that whole thing with Pettersson and being, really good together plays a huge part in this signing. If we all know, and we'll get into a little bit more of this later, but Pettersson needs a new deal next summer. He's not going to play for a team that's losing and selling off every single piece. He definitely will want some, some sort of direction with the team and some, almost his friends. I think
his contract's already almost up. Oh no!
Yeah, exactly. So I think this plays a big part into that. In that,
I thought he had 2 more years left.
No, that's next summer.
But he's an RFA, right?
RFA, yeah. So I mean, yes, that's better than UFA, but that I think plays a huge part.
Didn't he already say he doesn't want to stay long term? I'm pretty sure he mentioned that before he got. I'm pretty sure he mentioned something like that before. Because at the same time they had to sign Quinn Hughes, and they signed Hughes to a long term, and he got signed to a short term because I think he said he wants to win a cup.
Well, yeah, so. I think all I've seen is that he loves Vancouver, but he wants to play for a winning team. So
yeah,
obviously if
the
Canucks
are Seattle,
yeah, don't do that.
That'd be a slap in the face.
Oh, God. Corey, you always have your good little rants. Anything about this?
No rants. I think the Kuzmenko signing could spell the movement of Besser, and that Kuzmenko could effectively be Besser's replacement. He does have that chemistry with Pettersson, and seems to be an effective scoring winger. 2 years, not a long deal, but keeps him here for 2 more years, and it's hard to tell. It's still hard to tell this team, the direction. Are we keeping good players? Are we selling good players? But I think management has identified the players they want to keep and the players they want to move, and then maybe a few that are kind of expendable. But Kuzmenko is obviously someone that they want to keep, and I think it's good keeping that asset. We brought him to the NHL. He signed with this team. He wanted to be here. So could he have been traded at this deadline? Yes. Should he have been? Maybe. Am I upset that he's resigned? No. I guess I don't know what. I'm still a little iffy on the direction of the team. That's all.
I think that was my biggest thing with this signing. I love Kuzmenko as a player. I think he's unreal. And I love this re-signing. But the only thing that gets me is which direction are you going? You're trading your captain, your leading goal scorer, but you're still trying to replace him a little bit, but with somebody who is it just doesn't make sense. Like, you're not in a playoff spot. Why are you trying to replace players that weren't getting you into that playoff spot?
I think, Kyle, is that like they've identified who they want to keep moving forward, and they're going to dump the rest, and or do what they can with the rest, and then when they say retool, like, I'm assuming that's what it means, because really you do have Pedersen, Hughes, and I'm not sure about Demko, but you have Pedersen and Hughes who are they're still quite young.
Yep.
Like, if you know, that's you can still build the team around them, which is, I think, what their plan is. Yeah. Because if you're gonna rebuild, you might as well trade Pedersen and Hughes. You might as well trade everyone, right? So
that's, I mean, that is a fact. If you're going to rebuild, Pedersen and Hughes would get you a crazy amount of value, and then you can start from scratch. But that's not the direction they're going in. They're going.
But in if you do a 5-year rebuild, or just for instance, in 5 years, Pedersen and Hughes will be in and close to their prime, right?
I'd say their prime's going to start. I'd say Pedersen's prime starts next year at 25 years old.
Is he 25 next year?
He's 24 right now. He'll be 25 next year.
Yeah, 25 to 30
right there.
25 to 30 is your best year.
Mikey, quick maths.
So
yeah, well, exactly. So if you were looking for that 5-year rebuild, then he's going to be at the end of his prime by time.
Yeah.
Everyone else is going to come in. So.
Yep.
But Kuzmenko, heck of a player. I'm excited for that one for you guys, because I personally like watching him. So.
I mean, he has only played 50 games in the NHL.
Yeah, but if you look at his comparative stats, like between him and Kaprizov. Very similar for their first 50 games. Just saying.
Yeah,
okay, I mean, they're different. They're different. They're different players.
They are different players, but still impressive. Because Kaprizov is a hell of a player.
Sure, I mean, it's not like they're signing him to 7 years. Like 2 is. He should be the same player next year and the year after that he is now. Unlike another player that they just signed for 7 years.
Yep.
Is Moving on.
Just like a Voldemort, like he shall no, like he who will not be named, like the guy who got a 7-year deal. I wonder who that is.
How about he who shall not be named captain?
I like that.
Yeah.
Well,
honestly, yeah. I mean, if Miller's captain, it's going to be a riot part 2.
I mean, he has the most potential to be, because he's a good player.
Larson.
Oh God,
no. There's no. If they give it to Petey, I'll be disappointed, because he hasn't really shown. I don't think has shown like captain qualities.
I don't think they have a captain now. I don't think there's anyone.
No, I don't think so.
If it's, I'll tell you what. If you're thinking too hard, even if you're thinking hard about who's going to be the captain, then it already shows you that there's no front runner. So whoever the choice is, it's not really a good choice.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I wouldn't name a captain next year. See who steps up. Yeah.
So speaking of captains, that obviously we've already mentioned it, and you've definitely seen it all over the internet. Bo Horvat. There was a lot of rumors for a very long time. The Kuzmenko signing basically sealed his fate, because there was definitely no money left over. I'm surprised by the timing, but we'll get to that. So he gets traded, Mikey, you're going to love this one, to the Long Island. For Anthony Beauvillier, Atu Ratu, and a 2023 first round pick, which is a conditional, top 12 protected. If New York do slide and actually get a lottery pick, and the Canucks get their next year's first rounder. This
Question.
deal, yeah.
Is it pronounced Ratu? Because it's spelled Ratty.
It is, but everywhere I've seen, I've heard them say Ratu.
Interesting.
It's very interesting. Finnish. I don't know if that's how
Classic
to say it.
Finns.
You better finish the puck into the net.
That was bad.
That was
What was that? That's a Mikey Monday. Thank you.
shit.
you
Watch
sealed it.
yourself, brother.
You made my job easy.
Oh man, I forgot about that.
So that's probably the main part of this package back in return, other than, you don't even know what the first rounder could be. But that I would say is who they targeted. They were looking to get a young center or defenseman in return. And basically a prospect by that means. And they hopefully got their guy that they, hopefully scouted enough. Ratty or Ratu. Ratu sounds better, I don't know. 6'2", 185. He was just drafted in the second round in 2021. And, he'll jump into Abbotsford. I think he'll be a cool project, and he's immediately the Canucks' top prospect, which goes to show they don't have a lot. But yeah, how do you guys feel about the haul that they got in return?
Yeah, I can go. Well, they got a player, prospect, and a first rounder. I mean, that's kind of the asking price for Horvat. Remember, Horvat's a UFA, so teams know he's not signed, so that hurts his value a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they got Bolivier. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, Bolivier. Okay, so Horvat's this year he's like a 50 goal scorer, but in reality he's a 30 goal scorer. So they looks like a career 20 at most goal scorer back. Someone to he's a winger, so someone to just kind of fill the hole. And he's young, he's 25. So that's not bad. Not much more ceiling on that guy. But it's like a middle six player. Not a huge cap. I think he's 4 point something with a year or two left. That's okay. Ratty, I mean, anytime you're picking up a prospect from another team, they're probably somewhat of not a bust, but like they haven't really hit it, so they're looking for a change of scenery. Ratu, I like that he's big. I honestly don't know too much about him. I believe he was the Islanders' top prospect, which also says something about the Islanders system. But if this guy can be a NHL player, like a consistent NHL player, then I think that's somewhat of a win for them. Anything more would be a win. I guess it kind of hits, what do you call it? It's a wash if he's just like an NHL player. I think that's fine. And then the first rounder, they gotta also get an NHL player. It would be nice to get someone of Horvat's caliber with that pick. It's going to be I don't know, who knows where it'll be, but I think best case scenario, it's probably 13, 14. So in a deep draft, we have 2 picks in the top 15. I think that's probably best case scenario.
So far as well,
mm-hmm.
If they move Besser, if they move Luke Shen, there's a very good chance that they get 1, maybe 2 more first round picks there.
You think?
It sounds like the going rate for Luke Shen right now is a first round pick from a playoff team.
Yes.
So it'll be
Wow.
so it'd be like a 26 to 32 kind of range.
Mm-hmm.
And Besser, who knows, right? Like, it depends what the Canucks are taking back. If you're trading Besser, like, yeah, like a second round pick, first round pick, maybe if the market gets hot enough.
I could see Besser being flipped for someone on salary as well.
Yeah, like a hockey
Or-
trade.
Yeah, more so probably
Yeah,
because he's not expiring. If he was expiring, completely different story.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of money for someone to trade and accept Besser. I think it's 6.5 with, 2
Yeah.
more years. So that's a lot to take on. Not a lot of teams have that room to begin with.
Mhm. Yeah.
You look at most teams right now, they're all using the LTIR, cap relief. So it's just a mess right now to do deals like that and trying to deal off that much.
Yeah. So I mean, I think they got a right amount back. But again, it's wait and see. I mean, if Islanders don't re-sign Horvat, that's an immediate loss for them.
A lot to do with it too. I'm shocked that Vancouver didn't have a conditional pick as well. With if you re-sign Horvat, now we're getting this instead. But I guess maybe Horvat just has no interest in re-signing there.
Thing with that is, and I'm annoyed I didn't look it up now, but I heard somewhere, I don't know where now, but that they don't allow that anymore. Like the CBA don't allow that to be a conditional. Like, that can't be a conditional anymore. I don't know, when that happened, because I know 2-3 years ago there was lots of deals like that, but I'd have to look it up here. I just remembered that.
That's super interesting. I didn't realize that was a thing, which it's weird that would affect. Why do I think that there is conditions on picks even at the last trade deadline for that?
Yeah,
but at the same time, like I have one of the worst memories of like short-term memories of all time, so I could be totally wrong. It could have been like 5 years ago. It was all the picks for that. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting the conditions have shifted from like if they re-sign, if they do this, if they score this many goals, to more so like protected. Being a bit more protective of your assets, whereas like top 3 protected, you name it.
Well, especially this year, because imagine if Islanders don't make the playoffs, get a lottery pick. Imagine if it's number 1.
And they don't get to keep Horvat. Yeah.
Yeah, and they traded that pick for Horvat.
Yeah.
Like if there was no protection, like I think especially this year with Bedard. What's that?
What do you guys think the best case scenario on that first round pick is? Would you prefer that Islanders just barely miss the playoffs and you get it for this year? Would you prefer that the Canucks get it next year when the Islanders slip possibly down the standings? Like, what's your best case?
Best case is like Islanders.
3 Mondays.
Let's keep it realistic too. Don't say like they finish last in the league next year.
Okay, well that's what I was gonna say because you said best case.
But best case is first overall next year.
But let's not totally detach from reality here.
Yes. All right. So here's what I mean. I already kind of said it, but I'll say it again. Is that they finish 13 and we get. I'm assuming Canucks are going to get a top 5, and then we get another in a deep draft. We get another pick around the 13 because typically for drafts, like 1 is obviously 1. Top 5 are like pretty good talent, but then from 5 to 15, it's kind of the talent starts to it's more yeah, exactly. So 5 to 15. So I'm fine with in a deeper draft getting 13 as opposed to like a 10 next year. Then we have a player in our system anyways, and they're 1 year closer to development. So as long as we can trust our scouting, for me, I'm taking like a 13 to 15 this year over say a 10 next year.
So at this moment in time, Vancouver would have that 13th overall pick from the Islanders.
Oh, like where Islanders are right now? Is that what you're saying?
Where they are this second, yeah. Canucks are drafting 13th. Their Islanders are giving up that pick.
Okay.
Which could be interesting. Maybe the Islanders, if you think about it from like a standings point of view, like the Islanders are in that spot and they haven't moved. So if they get worse with Horvat, they get to keep that pick until next year. If they get better, then Vancouver gets that pick. So that's pretty much what it's riding on is, does Horvat improve them or not?
Yeah, I mean, he was scoring at a higher pace than usual. I mean, does he improve them? Oh, for sure. I mean, they are losing Bolivier, so like it's not like you are losing a player and adding a player, but I don't know. I haven't really watched a lot of Islanders games, but he'll definitely improve their team.
Yep.
But I don't know. Islanders are just odd. So Islanders are a weird team because you don't think they're good, but then in the recently, like they've made it to the third round in the Eastern Conference twice very recently, and the teams that they lost to were the Stanley Cup champs. 2019 Tampa Bay, 2020 Tampa Bay. So that's a lot better than many other teams in the league I've done recently. I was looking through their forward group. Okay, they have 3 forwards under 30. And one of them is Horvat. I mean, obviously, one of them would have been Bolivia, who they traded. So they have 3 forwards under 30. One is Barzell, who's 25 now. One is Horvat, who's 27. And the other is Ross Johnston, who's a fourth liner, grinder. He's 25 maybe. 28. So that's 28. Okay, thanks.
Sorry, I'm looking at their cap friendly right now.
Okay, but a huge Ross Johnston fan here. But that's a problem. Like, and then if they don't have a lot down the pipe, like that's a big problem for that team.
Well, they don't like Ratu was their top prospect, and now their top prospect is Robin Salo, who I've never heard of before. Sorry, any Robin Salo fans out there?
Tommy Salo. Anyways, but yeah, they're they have like Noah Dobson is looking to be a very good defenseman.
And Ryan Pollock and Adam Pellick are established.
Yep, they're established for sure. And obviously they have a very good young goalie who might be one of the best in the league. But yeah, their up front seems to be a little bit bare. I mean, obviously Barzell is a guy you can build a team around, but he has not had production like his rookie season since his rookie season. Great wording by me. But yeah, so they're an interesting team. I mean, I feel like people write them off every year looking at their roster, but they seem to be, right now they're a bubble team. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. They've got re-sign Horvat. That's their biggest.
Barzell has never replicated his rookie season. The closest he's come to his 85-point rookie season is 62 points in his sophomore season. And it's
what's that? It's actually
I was going to say, and it's kind of declined since.
Yes, it has. However, it is hard to say these last couple of years with the 2 COVID years. It's like the games played the point totals are a bit lower, but I think even his points per game hasn't hit that same.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess he had 45 points in 55 games, which would have been kind of the same pace as 62 points, maybe a few more.
Yeah. Yeah. So, 25-year-old first line center, like this is about the time where they seem to take the next step and become like that franchise player. So we'll see how it plays out. I know I can't speak to his defensive game or his all-around game because I really don't watch a lot of Islanders, but so I don't know if that's improved. Couldn't tell you, but he's a good player.
I think the one thing I'm most interested to see is Bolivier on any team other than the Islanders, because they're such a defensive system that everyone's offense is just garbage. Like Barzell's a prime example, like point per game player probably on any other roster, but not quite on the Islanders. So it'll be interesting to see, like, in my mind, Beaulivier is like a 40-point guy who's going to be middle six forward for you. That's going to be pretty streaky when it comes to his points. At least that's just what I think in my head. So it'll be interesting to see if a bit more freedom he can amp it up a little bit and maybe turn into a consistent top six forward instead of floating between that third, second line.
I think it's a cool pickup though, because you mentioned with the Islanders being very defensive minded team, and like the whole system is all about that. The Canucks trading for a winger like that with a lot of playoff experience too, for a younger guy, I think could definitely help. If they ship out Besser, Garland, whatever, you're left with him, and I think he can definitely almost help teach some of these younger players if they bring up Pudcoles and Hoglander. He's kind of defense first. Yes, he might have a little bit, a bit kind of let loose on the offense a little bit more, but I think it's a solid pickup and one that's, you're looking at the system he plays and they want to replicate that here. That's and that's Tocchet's main goal right now, is to get those systems in place. I do also want to follow up on that whole CBA thing. I did manage to look it up while you guys were talking. So in July of 2020, they released a new, CBA kind of extension or whatever, and in that there was a trade condition. A team can no longer include a condition in a trade that would send further compensation if a player is re-signed. So actually
they could send lesser compensation if you're looking at loopholes. I don't know the exact wording, but if you're like 4 first-round picks and then he doesn't re-sign, you only get 1.
I mean, yeah.
I'm probably wrong.
You might be wrong there, but
I think that's still more compensation because you're still giving them a pick for re-signing.
Yeah, so that hasn't been a thing for a while, apparently. Didn't know that.
Only a couple seasons, though. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not a big CBA guy.
It's confusing. So that kind of leads us into all these trade talks with the Canucks. Obviously, Luke Shan, Besser being a hot topic, and most recently, which kind of caught me off guard, is Thatcher Demko. So he signed to a pretty reasonable cap hit for the next few seasons. Do the Canucks explore trading him? I don't know how they can when they have no one in the system for that, because clearly we've seen what a Martin Delia pairing can do. Yeah. And if they do want to be competitive, say their window is 2 years from now, Demko's still signed in 2 years, and you're not going to have a goalie in 2 years, and it's pretty hard to freaking sign a goalie in free agency. It's very wild, You look at Jack Campbell, you look at so many instances. So there is a lot of rumors that he is possibly being looked around the league. I do think they don't move him. Definitely not before the trade deadline, and maybe in the off season. But I would be really shocked if they did.
Yeah, I don't know. They have nobody, and there's no way that they would, try to trade for another goalie. They'd probably just try to use Martin. Well, like you said, Martin and Colin over there don't work so well together. So it wouldn't be a smart move unless they got a good goalie back. But,
as hard as it is to get a good goalie, it just makes no sense to give up someone who has proven that they can steal seasons for you.
Although Demko hasn't proven a lot I don't think he's proven as much as people think. At least not the body of work.
But he's playing on the Canucks, so like temper your expectations, right?
I mean, if you remove this season, especially since he hasn't played since like November, I mean, he didn't have the greatest start, yes, but neither did the team. If you look at last season, remember from basically February to the end of the season, he stole so many games for the Canucks.
Yeah,
that was when Rutherford did come in, and he literally preached, that we have a franchise goalie. Like, we don't have to worry about it. Like, we have a guy here. And now, flash forward a year, and I guess he might be available. It's very, very weird. I don't think you can trade him at this point, too, because of, injury history this past season and, how he performed. I feel like you'd be selling him at his lowest.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. My only worry is that injuries seem, or they end up being more significant, and he never reaches that level that we saw before, which is a possibility. However, he is signed for a couple more years, and it's not a huge number. What is it, 5? Like, that's
5,
not 5 for a starting goalie is not too bad. So personally, I have to agree with you. I don't think he gets moved, and I would keep him, because if Canucks are looking to be competitive in 2 years, like if that's what they want to do, keep Demko, shut him down for the rest of the year, play the other guys, tank this year as hard as you can, give Demko a lot of time to rehab and get healthy, and go from there. And he's your starter going forward. So
I think no matter how hard Vancouver looks, they won't find a goalie that will do what Demko can do for them. Like, there won't be one that comes up available.
No.
Unless they're going to be like mid-30s. And at that point, they're, again, not going to be able to do what Demko does. So, Corey's totally right. Like, tell him, take the rest of the season, get healthy, come back for next year. And hopefully the Canucks have a stronger start next year and are able to be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. I do think, moving off from Demko, I don't think Demko gets traded, but in terms of, are we going to talk about the other rumors of the other players?
Yeah, go for it.
I do think, if we're going to make predictions, I think Besser, yes, will be moved either at the deadline or in the off season. And I will say, I think Shen will get moved as well. And maybe we could see either now or in the off season, Garland and Myers be moved. But that would be a harder deal, so it could maybe be in the off season.
Yeah, that's pretty spot on, I'd say. That seems to be like rumors nowadays, that there are just so many leaks and everything. Like, that seems to be every single player that there's rumors about. And, with you mentioning the management basically picking who's going to be part of this team going forward, it definitely seems like those aren't the names that they want anymore. And, we go flashback 2 weeks ago with Rutherford's press conference saying that the team needed major surgery. Well, this is major surgery with all these possible trades that we might be seeing. Maybe even buyouts in the summer. OEL.
Yep. And I mean, you look at the championship teams, like, the core is basically the same size in every team. And then you have your role players and your depth players. It's just all of those players have to be good and good at what they do. But it's not have, like, look at the Canucks, I don't think was ever going to work with Pettersson, Miller, Horvat. Because Miller is better at center, and Pettersson is better at center, and Horvat's a center. And Horvat and Miller are similar-ish players. So I don't think that was ever going to work. And maybe when Rutherford came in, they had already decided that. So I think one of them had to be moved. I would have loved to have kept Horvat over Miller. Horvat's younger. I think he was a great captain. I think he's a great player to have in the room as a leader. He definitely has that kind of like Henrik Sedin, Linden kind of vibe to him. And I would have liked to have him as a Canuck for his career, but it didn't turn out. So Miller has more offensive upside, even though Horvat's scoring a ton of goals. I think Miller is probably the better offensive player, but man, he's also a frustrating player. Defensively has not been as good, and maybe slightly worse on faceoffs. So, anyways, they re-signed Miller long term, so
yeah, he's here for the long haul.
I mean,
yeah, gotta move on from that.
and it's interesting, like before this season, Miller was like kind of like I'd say more obvious choice. He's had 2 point per game seasons in the last
Yeah,
3 years leading up to this year. Like, he's definitely a player that you'd want on your team for the next 8 years. It's just funny the turn.
I think we should go back and listen to past podcast where we talked about Miller and if he's going to resign or not, and how everybody here wanted him to resign.
Except for me.
I remember,
such a good point.
Yeah, I remember when he did resign. We were all going nuts on Instagram, reposting it on the story and everything. Flash forward a little bit now, and it's like, oh god. And I don't think during that podcast way back then, I don't think we realized the possibility of Horvat leaving. I think all of us just thought he would definitely resign.
No, because we did acknowledge but we followed up with, maybe they'll trade trade Besser and Garland, and then they'll be safe.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
we didn't realize. And
But
obviously,
there's also so much more time, right? Like, you had several months, and you had Rutherford and Alvin in charge, and we were thinking, especially like how they were talking at the start of the season, like, this roster isn't what we want to be. There's going to be major changes. So we're thinking like Brock Besser and Garland and maybe another player are on their way out to make room for re-signing Horvat. And Paul Colson is going to have a bigger opportunity this season because he was pretty good in preseason. Like he had games where he was like NHL caliber dominant, that kind of thing. So save on some cap room there, but not going as I thought anyways.
I mean, pretty much the only good thing about this year for the Canucks has been Horvat's career year. Maybe also Pettersson,
PD.
Okay, a lot of scoring, but in terms of the rookie or the sophomores having good years, nope. Demko, nope. Being a good team for once, nope. So it's yeah, and I agree. I thought they were gonna sign him long term, but I think it just didn't seem like it was a priority. Yeah, they offered him whatever they offered him, but it just didn't seem like they prioritized Horvat. But again, like I said, I just think it wasn't going to work with those three players at center. And I love Horvat, but fact is, like, this is a career year. He probably is not going to hit these numbers again. He's not your offensive player. He's like I don't know.
He's not a great play driver, as much as I don't want to diss him, but he's very, you've mentioned it before about opportunistic, and on the power play he's always in that bumper spot. He's not the guy kind of controlling the possession, and the Canucks will definitely miss him for all his face-offs, and he plays every opportunity out there, but it. I think just unfortunately had to happen. You had to change things up, and
you can't. Is he worth 8?
Ooh.
We'll have to wait and see what he gets, right?
Yeah, and see how he performs elsewhere, but
because it's like we've said. I was talking to someone at the other day, and I was like, "Well, who would you rather have, Miller or Horvat?" And they were like, "Well, Miller last year, Horvat this year." Which is kind of funny because it's basically what we've said. but yeah, like Miller was an absolute beast last year, and he did get 99, basically 100 points. And he was like our best player. It was him and Demko. One or the other was our best player. Every time we won, it was either because Miller or Demko, and they're both having like subpar or terrible years. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, something had to give.
Yeah, and we'll possibly see more moves here.
Yes.
Before the deadline. Obviously, that's like almost exactly a month away.
Yes.
First, we have the All-Star game in which Horvat will be wearing his new Islanders jersey, but still representing the Pacific Division. That's very interesting.
Nice.
I can't believe they didn't wait until after the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Like, have the deal in place.
What? But what if he gets injured at the All-Star game?
Oh.
Right? These guys are ruthless, man. They're
Hey, but at the same time, they can submit it with the league and be like, "Hey, don't ruin the All-Star game." Like,
I don't know, man. I feel like if something happened, Islanders would like call
would pull out, yeah.
yeah, or something. They were like,
And then they're
"Hell
just
no,
like,
we're-"
nope.
Yeah.
Maybe they
That's
did it to
cool.
have the All-Star game a little bit more, publicity. And
Do you really think Sleepy Lou would pick up on that? It'd take him 3 months to notice.
But yeah, I don't know. It is pretty savage though. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of sucks when you trade like a player that really wants to be here and kind of like gives it their all into the organization. That just kind of hurts. But it's like the same thing when they traded Linden, kind of. Maybe not the same, but hey, they did get good pieces when they traded Linden. So
It's true.
sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
Final note on Horvat. You basically already mentioned it. His parting message and his first press conference about it. He did mention that he always thought he was going to be a Canuck forever. So that was very sad
That's
to
always
hear,
sad when you see that.
because he just essentially got
Yeah.
forced out of here with them signing everyone else over.
Yeah, I noticed too. It seemed like he was already, basically had come to terms with the fact that he was leaving.
Oh
which-
yeah.
I mean, it's
I
been
don't-
months where it's been
Yeah.
known.
Well, their last
Yeah.
contract talk with him was like 2 months ago or something like that. So obviously he's like fully expecting it. You see all the rumors. It's
Yeah,
I'm sure he's very happy that it's over with.
yeah, relief in a way for sure. And he's probably, now that he's like emotionally moved on from being thoughts of being in Vancouver for a long time. Now it's kind of like, well, I get to leave behind that mess a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think he resign? I just want a yes or no from everyone. Do you think he resigns in New York or test free agency?
I think he resigns.
I think, yeah, he definitely resigns. I don't think
I
Lou would do this if he didn't
Yeah.
fully be set on signing him.
a rental for Horvat. I don't know if it's worth it for him and his family to move somewhere for like 3 months and then go somewhere else. That makes sense.
Fair. That's fair.
Also,
I especially since they missed out on so many players last off season. Kadri, Gaudreau, potentially.
well, what we should have done, because didn't New York Islanders want Miller last year?
Yeah, that was the hot topic at the draft.
We should have traded Miller to New York Islanders, and then we would have had. Anyways, we could have had the first pick that maybe it wasn't protected. Maybe we could have had their first pick non-protected and then just re-signed Horvat.
Yeah.
Like, frick's sakes.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
No.
they've
But,
already signed
who
him,
am I?
so they have to come
Who
to
am
terms
I?
with that.
What happened?
Like, honestly. But, yeah, he's gone. Jeez. I think, I'm pretty sure Canucks allowed teams to talk to Horvat about negotiating contracts.
I'm sure they did, yeah, especially somebody that value.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe. They haven't said so, but it seems pretty, just kind of weird not to.
I would have thought that would have been part of the deal, though. Trade and sign, get more value that way, because it feels like they got like rental value for somebody that they could have gotten trade and sign value for. But who knows?
All right, should we move on to trivia?
Yeah,
Yep.
let's rock and roll. Trivia Tuesday dropped yesterday, and the correct
Good
answer,
one.
of course, Cody Hodgson.
Yeah.
Nope.
Can we just acknowledge why?
All right, well, as you listeners, if you listened to last podcast, I did ask Corey to list every Canuck player that played in the 2011 playoffs. He did mention Cody Hodgson, and I said no, even though he did.
And to play devil's advocate, Corey said directly, I don't think Cody Hodgson's on that team. So Max was nearly agreeing with him.
Okay. I didn't listen to it back, but hey, maybe so.
Well, I will give myself a shout out for getting the trivia question on extremely hard, because I
Really?
did
How did you know
remember
that?
because Hodgson played for Brampton Battalion, and
I
so
was
did
trying to
Duchesne.
figure out what other player played on Brampton, and I knew it wasn't going to be Duchesne's age. It would have been like a year earlier or something.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Well, good job,
yeah.
geez.
shout out Corey.
Thanks.
That-
Yeah, me.
Because you did that, you get to do your trivia first.
Okay, my trivia. I don't think it's too hard. I think you guys should get it. It's another one-word clue.
Oh no.
It's a journey to say. So this one is also going to be an event in hockey history. All right. And when you have a guess, just shout it out. And here we go. Okay. A hockey event. First clue. 2-1. 2-1. Any guesses?
There's like 5 million hockey games that have ended that score.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
it could be a game or it could be a series. But
Season
anyways,
series, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, touche.
Okay.
playoff series potentially.
Clue number 2. Colby Armstrong. Colby Armstrong.
I feel like we need a new name for this type of trivia because one word hints don't really apply.
I don't know who that is.
You're screwed.
All right.
He played on Pittsburgh a bunch in Crosby's earlier years.
All right. Clue number 3. Shootout. Shootout. Yes.
That was like Crosby's
ga-
first goal
The
against
game,
Theodore.
the game ended 2-1 in a shootout. But when?
Okay. Number 4. Sam Roberts Band. Sam Roberts Band.
This like an all-star game? Sam Roberts band, like they're performing or something?
Okay. Clue number 5. 71,217.
Okay,
What?
no. This is a Winter Classic. It has to be.
I don't know. There's been a lot
It's
of.
been to every Winter Classic, we know, but Winter Classic, is this the one in against the Capitals when Crosby got concussed?
Looking for a date.
Looking for a date?
The one against Buffalo?
January 1st.
Looking for a year.
Oh, come on. 2009.
Okay, next clue.
You need jersey number 2.
No. Snow.
No.
It has to be the one. Yeah, like what the
2008.
What is that?
2008.
That's right.
Jesus.
That was a guess.
January 1st, 2008. It was the first Winter Classic between Pittsburgh and Buffalo
Oh, so it was
in
Buffalo.
Buffalo, New York. It ended 2-1. My last clue was Sidney Crosby because he scored the shootout winning goal. Colby Armstrong scored the game opening goal, so the first Winter Classic goal in history. It was his sixth goal of the season. Sam Roberts played in between intermissions. And there were 71,217 fans in attendance at where was it? Ralph Wilson Stadium near Buffalo, New York. So good. Well done.
Thank you. I think that was mostly me. Sorry, guys.
Well, Mike, you said All-Star Game, and then Kyle figured out it was.
I had to dig.
Yeah, look at
Buffalo.
that. Look at that. It's just like leading. Like, I'm just I'm trying to help you out, Kyle.
Are you Googling
you?
again?
No, or I would have said Winter Classic. Like Google.
Just typing in these words.
Yeah.
No. Cool. Okay. That's it. Good job.
Good stuff, Corey. Thank you.
You
Good
are welcome.
stuff. Brings me up to 4 victories. Okay, ready for mine?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Okay, I'm just gonna go my normal style. I like that. Pretty fun for me. So, let's rock and roll. Their only Stanley Cup victory came as a member of the Colorado Avalanche in 1996. But the team he spent the most time with, though, was the Canucks.
Mm.
In number 2. Oh,
I gotta guess, but keep going.
okay. Hint number
Can I
2.
just say it, or no? I'll let you go. Keep going. I just.
What's your guess?
Just go.
Okay.
I think I'll tell you if it was right or not.
Okay. He also spent time later in his career with the Kings, Stars, Sens, and Blackhawks.
Ooh, no, I don't. I think. Ooh.
Huh.
No, I don't.
Nothing?
Don't have it. No, I don't.
Okay.
Don't.
He had 556 career wins over his 16 seasons, leading the charge.
Oh, goalie.
Any guesses?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait.
I got nothing.
Kings, Sens, Stars, and who?
Blackhawks at the very end.
But he had them. He played the most with Vancouver.
Yep.
Oh, that's throwing me off a little bit.
Like half his career was spent with Vancouver.
Really? Won a cup with Colorado. Now, did he play a playoff game in '97, or was he just on the roster?
Let me double check. Sorry. Bonus hint.
Mm-hmm.
In 97,
Yeah.
he was on the roster.
But he didn't play.
No.
I have another guess that I might go with for right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your guess?
Well, don't you want to go through your hints?
Okay, fair enough. Anybody else got any guesses?
Not me.
Nope.
Okay,
I mean, I can say it. You can say nothing.
sure.
I'm wondering if it's Alex Ald.
It is not Alex Ald.
Okay.
I was gonna guess him too.
Okay. Good.
Okay, now let's dive into it a bit deeper, or make it a bit easier. This person spent the 1998 to 2006 season with the Canucks and infamously encouraged revenge on Steve Moore after his open ice hit on Naslund.
98 to 06?
Why am I not? Oh, I can't.
What?
1998 to 06.
Okay, it's
Include Jay.
that's what. But no, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. That's not it, right, Kyle?
No.
Cliche, yeah. What goalie would have been with them for that long? I mean, I'm about to just start listing goalies, but well, I'm a little stumped here.
Is there another hint?
I can make another hint. I got one here.
That's a long time for someone to be on. That's what, 8 years.
Ready for another one?
Yeah.
His playing career spanned from 1981 to 1987. Most of it was actually with the Canucks too.
Oh, so was he coaching the Canucks? I don't understand.
Sure.
Oh, I know who it is. Okay.
Oh, me too.
What the hell? Okay. Oh, we were way off. I know who it is.
Too, but I need to find out his position real quick.
Just
I have a name in my head.
No, I know. I know what it is. Max, do you know it?
No.
Yeah, I got it.
What is it?
I have this.
Oh,
I'm like.
actually, Mikey, who do you got?
Did he play goalie? I'm just. Hold on. I have this guy's name in my head, but I still don't know if he's played goalie. And no, he didn't play goalie. No, fuck. No.
I think he was a defenseman when he played.
Can you repeat one of your clues for me, please?
Which one?
The first one.
Why was he going to get a smart?
His only Stanley Cup victory came as a member of the Colorado Avalanche in 1996. The team he spent most of his career with, though, was the Canucks.
Okay. What was the second clue?
He also spent time with the Kings, Stars, Sens, and Blackhawks.
Oh, got it. Yeah,
John,
I know what it is. No, I was curious.
Mark.
What was it? Did anybody guess?
I said Mark Crawford.
Mark Crawford is correct.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, I didn't even think he was a
Why did I think he
possibility.
played goalie? Why was he? He was the first person. Okay, sweet. Let's go, baby.
What tripped you guys up was his 556 career wins over 16 seasons.
Yeah. I was like, oh, it's a goalie.
Yeah, everyone's like, yep, goalie.
But then Corey asked if he played on the 1997 Avalanche or if he was on the roster, and I was like, he didn't play.
I was just thinking who the coach was or whoever was like relevant back in 2006. And he was like the first guy.
Well,
yeah.
it didn't make. Yeah.
It didn't make sense.
Well, from that period of time, I was like,
for such
who would have
long.
been that? Yeah, on the Canucks, I was like, there's no one that comes to mind. Like it's not Alder Kluche.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember the last thing you said. I think there was like the Steve Moore kind of thing, and then I was like, oh, because I knew Crawford won the cup with Avs, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
He wasn't even a goalie though.
No,
He was a forward,
No.
was he not?
Was he a forward?
It's when Kyle said
he's a left winger.
Career. That's when Kyle was like he played until 87. I was like, what the hell?
And that was my bonus hint too. I didn't even have that down. I thought one of you guys would have had it by the.
Well, we weren't thinking. We haven't done a coach before, so we weren't thinking a coach.
I know it was tricky, right?
Yeah, it was tricky because we've never done a coach before.
So Corey doesn't like my hint again. I can tell in his voice.
I wish Corey just started riling off goalies. It would have been really funny.
I should have stopped him.
I was gonna go.
Just names like 50 goalies. No.
Then
Yeah,
John
like
Garrett.
Bob Essenza, Mika Norinen. Like, I was ready
Get
to
your
go.
Jason LaBarbera out there.
Barbara Johan Hedberg.
My favorite, Atero Ninimaki.
And Hera Nitamaki, hell yeah.
Not
Never
a
played
Canuck,
for the
but
Canucks. No, not a Canuck. I was actually, my first guess was Brad May. But I don't think he played most of his career for Canucks. He played for Buffalo for most of his career, I think.
Yeah. Mayday! Mayday!
Yeah. Did he win a cup with Colorado? Because I know he played for them, right?
I think he did. Let me check. Red May. Oh no, he won a cup with the Ducks, I think, at one point in time as well.
07, I guess. Brad May.
Let me double check and see what awards he's got. No, he didn't win a cup with the Canucks. With the Avalanche. He played. Oh,
Okay.
he joined the. He was on the Avalanche when the Ducks won the cup, and he joined the Ducks right afterwards. That is sad.
That was good. We have any? We got any more trivia? Max, Mikey, you got one more for us?
No, not ready. I mean, we've already been over an hour here, so I think we can definitely call it. Next time we can definitely. I have a pretty good idea for some trivia.
All right.
And Aaron had some kind of brewing for Mikey as well.
Yeah.
Huh?
Mikey.
Oh no.
Mikey, you're gonna get a chance to show off like me and Corey did last episode.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be another version of the personalized trivia, so be ready.
Sure.
All right. So since last podcast, we had 2 fan questions for you all on our Instagram and Facebook pages. Both of them were polls in this case, and our first one that kind of was a spur of the moment thing was, do you support / like the Wave? Surprisingly, it came off as a 50-50.
Yeah. I'm surprised.
Result.
I'm not surprised. I think that's right where it should be.
You think you support a division among the fans? A segregated fan base?
I like that there's 2 schools of thought, and it's a very even split. I think that's really cool. Mostly because I'm not outnumbered.
Thought for sure you'd be alone there.
I mean, I want to see a full wave or a no wave. I don't want to see a half wave.
That's true. There should be wave nights and non-wave nights.
Okay.
So then you'd support it?
No, God.
You wouldn't go to the wave nights.
I wouldn't go to the wave nights. That's the whole point. I know that I have to avoid those nights, so I'm not like around weirdos like you.
All right. And our other poll was about the Canucks, and it was, will the Canucks finish above 500 for the rest of the season with Rick Tocchet? And that was a bit of a landslide. Only Kyle was the one to vote yes, like above. Everyone else said no.
My school of thought is, why wouldn't the Canucks absolutely mangle their tank?
That is a Canucks thing to do, to be fair.
That is such a Canucks thing to do, and that was my only thought process was, would the Canucks really win like above 500 for the rest of the season when there's so much on the line? I'm like, yeah, they would. They absolutely would. They'll get worse. They'll trade a bunch of people at the trade deadline, and they'll still find a way to win because that's what they do. Mediocrity. Normalize mediocrity.
I'm surprised. Normally you go with like the
anti-Canuck. This is anti-Canuck.
Yeah,
I know this is yeah. I guess the anti-Canuck trumps like reality, I guess.
Better than the Canuck brain trumping reality with all your guys' predictions for the game a week.
Oh well, you know, I live to hope for a happy world. Whatever, sue me. You know, or whatever, man. Like, I want to live on the bright side. What do I get from it? Just
I want to live on the bright side. I want the Canucks to be good again. I want you to have a reason to go to the game and do the wave away from me.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Sorry.
Didn't like that one.
No, he did not.
No, I just, whatever. If you do what you want to do, I guess.
Yep.
All right.
Time to wave goodbye.
Our next fan question for you guys, which will be posted in the next few days here, correlates to a topic we discussed earlier in this podcast, and it is going to be another poll. And it's going to be, will Demko be traded? I'm going to say we're going to cap it at before next season. So either at this deadline or during the summer. So let us know your thoughts. I know we already discussed it here, but I think most of us are on the no side. But we'd love to hear a yes and maybe your reason. And that's about it for this episode.
Perfect. I'll take us to the outro. Thanks everyone for tuning in for this episode. Trade deadline, 30 days away. Very much looking forward to that. I'm sure a lot of interesting stuff will happen after the All-Star game too. So we'll be back next week, hopefully, to chat about that. And can't wait. Looking forward to it. Thank you guys for joining.